Hello my YouTube fans, here we are again. You remember my game table. Well, this is the whole thing exposed. This is the chessboard which I painted, and I have to admit I got lazy with the 9 men's Mars. I used permanent marker. But today it's warm enough out, it's in the 50s, to allow me to open up a couple of windows. This is a water-based coating, polyacrylic they call it, from Minwax. And we're going to make the attempt of coating this whole thing today. Hopefully it'll dry fast enough that I can use the table tonight for dinner. If not, I'll have to use these folding tables. And I just wanted to introduce this to you, that today's the day we're going to do this, and I'm going to pause the video for now, and we're going to start opening this up and stirring it and start the painting. I'll unpause it and complete the video in a little bit. Of course, it'll only be a second or so for you, but it'll be probably a half hour or more for me. See you in a minute. Okay, so now we're going to start. As you can see, the polypropylene or poly whatever they call it is kind of milky looking, but they say that it goes on milky and it dries crystal clear. So I'm going to try and start this whole process. I need to start. I think when I'm getting to the end of the table, I'll take the can off. But right now, I prefer to just sit on the table. And of course, when I go to paint that side, I'm going to have to move the can. But right now, this is a lot easier. So let me go ahead and see what happens. Let's dip the brush. It's an old brush, but let me dip it anyway. I hear beeping. Well, that must be outside. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's just give it a start. And they say to take it all the way across without going back. So I'm going to do that. Oh, let's kick the microphone while we're at it. Okay. So I'm going to dip it again. It looks like it's okay. It looks like it's working out. Now I'm not gonna put any excess off of it because I want it to be thick. But I gotta tell you, I'm sure that by the time it gets to this end of the table, it's a lot thinner than it was at the other end. So we'll figure that out later. Looks like it's going fairly quickly. I don't know if I need to dip it more. It's a long piece of wood. We're looking at how many inches? I forgot. It's more than 4 feet long. They say not to go back and forth. Now I'm going to just very quickly just dab the sides of this table. I don't know if I'm getting it all on or not, but I'm just going to, just for the sake of doing it. Do one more from this side, and then we're going to switch to the other side, I think. Can't tell if I went over it or not. It's hard to tell when it's something clear. What does it look like on the screen? I can't see from here. Okay. I think we're going to go to the other side now. Let me just very quickly do that. And now I'll switch sides, and I'm going to have to remove the can from the table. Okay. And let's just give it a tiny little dip on one side and do the edges here. Okay. And now, it's hard to tell what part I did and what part I didn't. Alright, we're going to bring it to the edge. We'll do a couple more down the middle just in case I missed. It's hard to see, I gotta tell you. It's hard to see whether or not I actually did it. What if I just drop some over here on this side? Alright, we're going to do right down the middle. Make sure we got the actual middle. I know it says not to do that, but you know what? Nonsense. That's what I say, nonsense. We're gonna do it right up to the edge of the can, and then we have to move the can. I'm gonna do this. I don't care what they say on the video. Okay, and that should have been covered. Okay. Okay, and now I'm gonna have to move the can. Let's just quickly do this. Okay, now we move the can. I guess we could put it on the stool maybe, or on this chair. Bring the chair over. Okay. I'm gonna let it drip on this side. It's not even dripping. There it goes. And I have a feeling that I'm going to ignore what I learned on the YouTube video. Oh, now the microphone's all the way over there. I know. I'll talk in a minute. I'm going to bring the microphone over here. I'm going to ignore what I learned on the YouTube video because I'm seeing that this is actually pretty dry. And this side is actually a lot wetter. So I'm going to ignore what I saw on the YouTube video telling me to go in one direction only. And I'm going to go in reverse what I did before. Because I don't trust it's going to be... So here we go. I'm going to start from this end. I'm going to do the long stroke the other way. Because I really don't trust that it's covering it properly. Anyway, we talk about a table that I used magic marker and paint on. It's a piece of plywood that I got on sale, clearance, or whatever they call that, damaged wood. Which, by the way, many of you people know that chess table that I made, a coffee table, is from the same piece of wood. I'm pretty sure a lot of you know that already. Okay, let me dip that again. So now I'm going in reverse what I did before, starting from the side that I ended up on before, because I don't trust that it's thick enough on that side. And we're going to have to switch sides now. And I'm going to need to pull this over here. Sorry about the noise. I know that's traveling through the microphone. Okay. And let me tell you, there's a lot in here. I mean, barely a quarter of the can, not even, maybe an eighth of the can is used. So if I see necessary, I can easily give this a second and even third coat, and I'd still have some left. So I'm not going to worry about that. I forget what I paid for it. It wasn't real expensive. I'm going to say it was around $10. I don't remember the exact price. And as far as the fumes are concerned, very, very little fumes. I mean, I could literally left the windows closed and that wouldn't have bothered me. But you know, nowadays they're so careful as to warning you of any problems with fumes and stuff. But I do have the windows open, or at least some window open. Look at this, it's not even covering it. Okay, we're going to have to give this a second coat. So, while I pause to give this a little dry and see how it comes out, we'll start recording again on the second coat. I know, I realized the scene switched for you very quickly. I got the blind open a bit. You don't see my face or anybody else on the screen, and it's kind of glary. So I pulled out a fan. It is a little chilly, but I pulled out a fan to get this to dry faster. So upon inspection, I found out the old paintbrush I was using was very loose-haired. I'm going to throw that out, and I'm going to use a dollar store roller on it instead. The so-called permanent marker I used on the 9 Men's Morris game did actually bleed a bit. I know you can't see that on video at the moment. But so what I'm going to fix that. I'm not going to fix it. You can't actually fix the bleed. It's just a little bit. It's not a big deal. There's a slight tinting of blue in the coating. But once it dries, it'll be sealed, and then I could just use a roller instead of a brush to do the second coat. There are parts on this plywood that have been absorbing the coating so quickly that it looks like I didn't even touch it, but I know that I did. You could probably see. I'm not standing by the board right now, so I can't point it out to you, but you could probably see that some parts of the board are glaring and other parts are literally not, and that's where the stuff got absorbed into wood, and it's already dry on that spot. So we're drying this off with a fan, even if the temperature is a little low, and I'm going to put the second coat on with the roller that I got from the dollar store. So please stand by. And again, it's only going to be a second for you. It's going to be a long time for me, but it'll only be a second for you. I'm pausing the video now. Well, as you can see, I closed that blind behind the board. So according to the can, the best temperature to let this dry at is 74 degrees. Now obviously it's not 74 degrees in here, and I put a fan on it, but the temperature in this room went down to like 69. So I took the liberty of wasting a little oil, and I turned up the thermostat. I closed the window behind the blinds there, and I decided that I'm going to see if I can get this thing to dry a little faster so that I can put that second coat on. There is still ventilation in this house. I actually still have the bathroom window open, but I got to tell you, this stuff has little to no fumes. The extra precautions that the manufacturers put on their painting materials lately have been zealous. Obviously, nowadays we're very cautious about what fumes you're breathing and stuff like that. I understand that in the old days when I was a teenager, they weren't so careful as to how they explain how you should ventilate yourself while you're using paints. But this is a water-based coating, and it does have some some ethylene, something or other, some alcohol base in it, so that there are some very little fumes. But not to worry, there is actually still ventilation in this house, and like I said, I can't even smell it anyway. So with the fan on, the bathroom window open, I was able to close the window behind just to let this dry faster, and I turned up the temperature. Even though it's a waste of oil, it's not going to be that long. It's going to be a few minutes, and then we'll go ahead and roll on the next coat, and using the dollar store roller and painting kit, and maybe do the edges a bit, and we'll see how the second coat comes out. Now it says you're supposed to let this dry and then sand it again with a very fine sandpaper. Well, guess what? That's not happening. I don't have an electric sander, and it would be by hand, so that's not going to happen. I'm just going to put coat after coat until it finally gets absorbed enough to show that it's actually coated. And that's the way I'm going to leave it. As it is, this is a frugal dining room table to begin with. It's a piece of plywood cut to size, sitting on top of a folding table, which sooner or later, hopefully sooner than later, I will actually be making a real table out of this. Buy some lumber and make a frame and take it off of the folding table, but that's for some other time. Right now, I want to complete this gaming table so that we can actually eat on it as a dining room table with the game board showing, instead of having a tablecloth on it all the time. See you in a few. Again, it's only going to be a second or so for you. It's going to be half hour or more for me. See you soon. Well, this paintbrush is going right in the garbage. My friend and I have been pulling these paintbrush hairs off this table since it's been drying. So this paintbrush is going right in the garbage. It's like 25 years old anyway. Okay, see you later. Okay, so you probably can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm taking the, watch me drop it now. I'm taking the can and the roller. I'm actually dipping it in the can and using the dollar store roller and tray to, sort of smooth it out. Then I'm going to just go ahead and start rolling. Is that a hair I see already? Yep. Picked up a hair from the piece of wood that I was using. I threw that other brush out. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens. Let's just start rolling. Go right to the edge. And then go back with it and go over the edge. Let's see what happens. Now I know there's a spot here, like right here. Oh, look at that, it's excess. Okay, so I can't press too hard. There's a spot here that absorbed it really a lot because the wood is soft there. I didn't sand it very well. Like I said, I don't have an electric sander. I can see where it's leaving lines. And I'm gonna have to figure that out. That's very. I'm not so sure this roller was a good idea because it's leaving like bubbly. Well, we're going to have to go over it with the small paintbrush. That's all. Because I threw the other one out. We got the dollar store paintbrush, which is actually better. Okay. I'm going to dip it again. Let it drip a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it over to the tray. Press harder this time to get the excess off. And then I'm going to go... I think I left off right at this line, right? I'm going to press gently. I'm not even going to press. And I'm going to ignore that video from YouTube that says I should go in one direction. Because that's just ridiculous. Oops, that one glided, it didn't roll. I think I'm just going to use what's in here. Okay, I left off at this line. Let me go through the side of the board. Yeah, I'm leaving bubbles. Definitely have to go over this before it dries. By the way, the temperature did raise up to, I put it up to 74 degrees. The temperature did come up right away. Seeing as it's like 50 something, almost 60 degrees outside, maybe it is 60 outside, which is amazing to begin with in the winter time. So this should dry faster. And like I said, I'm not smelling any kind of dangerous fumes. So this stuff is made for indoor furniture. I'm going to go over this and then I'm going to dip it one. Look at the bubbles over here. That's why they said not to shake it. Maybe that's why they also said not to roll it. What was I saying? Yeah, they say not to shake this because of that. And I think I know why now. This foam rubber roller is causing bubbles. So I'm definitely going to have to go over it with a paintbrush. But I'll have to use the small dollar store paintbrush that I picked up. Okay, I'm going to start from this side now. I'm not going to press, I'm just going to very gently roll. Okay, I left off, I'm going to go over to the side. I left off there. I think I left off here. Yeah, there was some bleeding of the color from the permanent marker. There's nothing, absolutely nothing I can do about it. Oops. Now, I'm going to go and look for that dry spot, and I'm going to dab it. And then I'm going to let that sit there for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And roll it over. Let that absorb. Okay, we need to get this paintbrush on this because this is bubbly looking. See, the thing is that they tell you to use once it's dry for 2 hours or more, you're supposed to sand it again with fine sandpaper and then do it over. But this is a frugal project. This is a piece of plywood that I got. I'm not going through that much trouble, and I don't have an electric sander anyway. So I'm just going to dip this brush and pull off the excess. I'm just going to glide it to get the bubbles out. And because it's a 1-inch paintbrush, it's going to take me forever. I actually have lines to follow because of the game board. So I see where I missed already. I gotta go back over. Right there. There it is. Yeah, so the roller was not a good idea. I mean, it was okay. I mean, it made me do the job quick, but it also caused bubbling. And we don't want that, so before it dries, we're going to smooth it out with a brush. And not the brush that I had before, because the brush I had before was 25 years old, and it was losing its hair. Like an old man losing his hair. Going bald. Okay, I need to go on the other side of the table now. Okay, let's go on the line, which is the middle of this. Let's go on this line, which is the middle of this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this would actually look a lot shinier and smooth and glassy if I had taken the time and trouble and spent the money on an electric sander. But like I said, this is not a elite woodworking job. This is more of an artistic job than it is a furniture building job. This is just a piece of plywood sitting on top of a folding table, which we had at least 2 Thanksgivings on, dinners, and I decided to take this plywood and make something interesting out of it. Of course it's chest, but you know me, chest on. Okay, I think we're going to give it a right there. And it definitely does not look glassy. I might have to give it a 3rd coat. It is 74 degrees in here at the optimal temperature that the manufacturer suggested that it should be. So maybe it'll dry faster and we'll give it a 3rd coat. And this time, I think we're not going to use a roller. This is water soluble, so I could actually wash the stuff out with water. Yeah, that spot, that rough spot is still absorbing the material. Or I could just leave it and the heck with it and just let it stay not shiny, knowing that the wood is actually protected. Well, we'll see. I think we'll pause the video now and see you in a few. Okay, well, a little lesson learned. We don't use a roller, especially a dollar store foam rubber roller, because it causes bubbles. And even though I smooth them out with the brush, I can still feel it. But it's not a big deal. Remember, this is a frugal project. This is not a, professional woodworking project. Now, when I do make this table into a table, then I'll go to the store and get myself a couple of power tools, like an electric sander, nothing too expensive, and really do a number on it. Then I'll sand it down and then recoat it with the same stuff, because there's literally more than 3/4 of a can left. There's enough in there to do another 10 tables. So when that time comes, I'll do that. But for now, this is fine. The temperature in this house now is 74 degrees, so it is drying faster. But I think for now, I think this is fine. I mean, who do you know owns a dining room table that costs $10? Because that's what this would cost me at the time, about 2 or 3 Thanksgivings ago. and I've been using it for a dining room table since. So there you have it. There it is. And remember, no matter where you go, there you are. See you next time. Thanks again. Please subscribe.